What's going on, guys? Linus here, and welcome to Civilization 5. Today, we're here with Mr. ChristopherOdd.
Hey, Linus.
Hey. I'm going to show Christopher how to play the game, or try to at least. So obviously, it's a very complex game. It's going to take a long while to explain all this, so this might be a pretty long video, but, you know, it's worth it, because this game is amazing. What did I forget to mention just now?
I think it's important to let people know that the reason we decided to do this was so that new players to Civilization, like myself, can go through this, and by the end of this video, hopefully, you can jump into a game on your own and have some idea of what to do, because it is very overwhelming. I've been through a very, very small amount of this game, and so the purpose for me being here is really to ask Linus a lot of questions. How many hours do you have into this game, roughly?
I think I'm getting close to 200 hours now.
Yeah, so 200 hours of experience versus me, who has like a couple of hours of experience. And I will try to ask like the really basic questions. We're going to be super detailed, and hopefully this helps new players. That's the whole goal.
Yeah, I probably should have remembered that. Anyway, do you want to just start with the victory types and stuff like that? How like the game mechanics actually work?
Yeah, so I think we're both on the setup game screen. We're gonna walk through most of this stuff, but yeah, if you can give like an overview first of all, on like what is the purpose of the game? Like, what is the actual goal?
Okay, sure, yeah. So the goal of Civilization 5, or how it works, is you take control of your own civilization, which is a group of people from history, or, well, it's mostly history, there's no future yet. And it's your goal to win the game by either, there's several different victory options that you can pick.
Okay.
You can destroy every other civilization there is.
And what is that? That's called like a domination victory?
Domination victory. It's as easy as that. You just kill everybody.
Okay.
Well, actually, you have to take their capitals, but it's basically the same thing.
Okay, so people, I understand people have multiple cities, right? Each civilization has multiple cities. So domination, you don't actually have to take out all of their little cities. It would just be taking out the capitals, although through that, you're probably taking out all their little cities.
Exactly. Taking only the capital would probably be a pretty annoying thing to do, so yeah.
Right, okay.
Then there's the science victory, which allows you to go into space, and if you're the first person to actually construct your spaceship and go there, you win the game that way.
And that would typically be pretty long. Like, that's a long way to win. Am I right?
Yeah, you pretty much have to go to the end of the game to really get there, yeah.
Okay. End of the game, you mean like... sorry to cut you off, but end of the game, you mean like through all of the different eras or whatever they're called?
Yeah, through all the eras to the information era, and after that you can basically make all the spaceship parts and just construct it.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, that takes a long while to actually do that. Then there's a diplomatic victory, which has been changed with Brave New World.
Okay.
Should I actually say how this works without Brave New World?
Yeah, I mean, so this may be a good point to talk about the expansion. So what we're going to cover off is really the basics of Civilization 5, maybe a couple of touch points from Gods and Kings and Brave New World. But for the most part, we're going to assume that everybody has all of those expansions, because there will be things that tie in and some things that don't. But the purpose of this first video is to keep things really basic. And if there's interest, we'll do more for Gods and Kings and for Brave New World. But being that Brave New World does have an impact on the way that you win some of the games, I think it's important to tell them about that.
Okay, yeah. So let's just start with, if you don't have Brave New World yet.
Okay.
You know, maybe you just picked up the normal Civ or Civ Gold.
Yep.
What you need to do is become friends with all the city-states. And you may not really know what a city-state is yet, but we'll get into that later.
They're like, the way to think of city-states, I think, are like mini civilizations that don't expand. They're basically like one city. And
yeah, they don't try to win, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But we can show that later, I guess, in-game, actually. It will make more sense, I think. So if you become friends with all of them, they will basically, as soon as you construct a certain wonder, which is, I think, the United Nations, they will vote for you to become the world leader. And if you have the most votes, that's how you become the that's how you get the diplomatic victory.
Okay.
Then the last one is let's see, we got the cultural victory,
Yeah.
which used to be just get a whole lot of culture and complete 5 trees.
Oh yeah. Okay. So we'll explain that again once we're in the game.
Yeah, it's easier to just show it.
Yeah.
And it's actually been redone now, and I think you basically need to make your culture influential with Brave New World in 5 different or all other civilizations to really get that cultural victory.
Yeah, and that has to do with something that Brave New World added called tourism, I think.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Okay. So a lot of that stuff will be for the advanced videos if we decide to go there. But again, I think it's important to know the different types of victories, even though we may not go for those during this video.
Yeah, well, that's the thing with these victories. You know, you can basically make up your mind and say, I'm going to try for this victory. But most of the time, you're going to have to adapt to what's happening in the game and then, you know, change your hopes for victory according to that, you know?
Okay, that's a good point. So that's actually a good segue as well into the next thing we want to talk about, which is all the different civilizations. So when you go to pick a civ, you have what? How many did you say? 40 or something now?
43, yeah.
So if you have all the DLC and all the expansions, there's like 43 civilizations. It's pretty overwhelming. And so let me ask you, when you are picking a civ, do you have like a game type or a victory type in mind that you'd like to go for?
Honestly, I just adapt my playstyle to whatever civ I'm playing.
Okay.
And then I just take a look at the different, you know, victory conditions and see which one is, the most doable for me at that point.
Okay.
So I don't really have like I don't really have in mind I'm going to kill everybody. That's just something that happens if my military just, turns out to be stronger than the other players.
Right. So you kind of some of these civs will lend themselves better to different victory types.
Yeah.
And then based on some of their attributes and how the game is going and how your cities start and all that stuff, you'll start to tailor your approach. Like, for example, let's say that you started as a civ that was really good with military, and you started building up a military, but for whatever reason, you realize like you're not going to be able to take out another civ because they have a much stronger military. You might shift your tactics into going for like a science victory or a diplomatic victory.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
So let's see, there's, like I said, 43 civs. I can give you some examples if you'd like on how exactly, certain civs have benefits towards a certain victory.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, I see, like, if I look at Alexander,
yeah,
right
that's
off the
what
bat,
I was looking at as well, yeah.
Yeah, can you maybe talk about that one?
Yeah, so if you take a look at Alexander, you get to see his unique bonus right down below his name.
Okay.
That's where it shows for every civilization. And off to the side, you can see his specific units. And then it's just his logo. But there's also buildings and improvements that are unique to certain civilizations.
Okay.
The case with Alexander is that he basically gets extra influence with city-states, and it degrades at half the normal speed.
Okay.
So he's actually great for diplomatic victory because he can make more friends easily.
Yeah, because he could build up like easy allies with all of these city-states at a much faster rate than everyone else and lose it at half the rate. And so that like clearly ties itself to a diplomatic victory.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
But that's not to say that, Alexander couldn't win a domination victory.
No, he basically, any civ can win any victory, definitely,
Okay.
yeah.
And another question about this screen. So if I look at Alexander, I hover over this little horse thing here. It's a companion cavalry, right?
Yeah.
Does this replace a unit in the game, or is this an additional unit that he has access to?
I think in pretty much all the cases with the special units, they replace a unit that's already available in the game. It's just
Okay.
an upgraded version of it, basically.
Okay, so like, let's say everybody got some of these like guys that ride horses at a certain era. His is going to be a little bit stronger than everyone else's.
Yeah, basically.
Okay. And do you always get two different things? Like I see companion cavalry and hoplite, and then the guy above, Ahmad Al-Mansour from Morocco, he actually has another version of cavalry, but he also has the Kasbah, which looks like a building or whatever.
Yeah. You can basically tell by just looking at the civilization. Some of them get 2 units, some of them only get buildings or improvements. So that differs, but they all get 2 different unique buildings or units or improvements.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Do you want to talk about some other civs in here that may be of interest to people? Especially maybe if you could highlight some of the ones good for people that are starting out.
Sure. There's actually some pretty nice ones out there. I'll try to pick out the ones that are not necessarily Brave New World.
Okay, yeah, good point.
Let's see. An actually pretty easy one to play is Caesar, I think.
Augustus, yeah.
Augustus Caesar, yeah. He gets extra production towards any buildings that already exist in the capital. So what that means is if you make a second city or a third city,
Yeah.
any building you make that already exists in the capital will be produced a lot faster.
Oh, okay.
So it's just a nice little passive bonus that you don't really have to do anything for.
And so that would lend itself to like expanding a lot more rapidly.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you're able to build those buildings a lot faster in other cities.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
Okay, that makes sense.
And then he also gets a ballista, which is a nice siege unit. I'm pretty sure it replaces either the catapult or the trebuchet.
Okay.
And he also gets a legion, which is a stronger, I think, swordsman,
Okay.
who can also build roads.
Oh, cool. And so some of these, some of these bonuses probably come at different eras, right? Like some you may get early game, some you may get late game, or are they all typically early game?
No, they all replace a certain unit. So if you look at the Germans, for example,
Yeah, okay.
they get a replacement tank, which you get very late into the game.
The Panzer.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then some civs get stuff that just replaces the warrior, which is the first unit you get.
Right, okay. Okay, cool. Makes sense.
So there's lots of differences there, yeah.
What other guys do you want to highlight here?
Let's see. I didn't really have any ones in mind that were super easy.
That's okay.
I was thinking about Rome earlier. That one already we already had. Let's see. Hiawatha. I hope I pronounced that correctly.
And what's the name of the... Oh, is that the name of the person?
Yeah.
Oh, Hiawatha. Okay, the Iroquois.
Yeah.
Cool, okay. So tell us about them.
He's actually pretty good. Their units move through forest and jungle in your friendly territory as if they were roads, which means a lot faster.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, and you can also use them to establish a city connection. Normally, you actually need a road for that.
And what is a city connection then?
City connection is if you have one city and you build a road between that city and another city.
Yeah.
Simple as that, and your units can just move faster along those, and it brings in a little bit of extra money
okay.
for your empire.
Cool. So actually, so the Iroquois, because their units don't get hindered by forests and jungles and stuff like that, probably early game, very, very strong to be able to go and get, what do you call those things? The ruins that you find around?
They can be a little bit faster, but if you read it a little bit more thoroughly, maybe you missed it. It says it's only friendly territory.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, there's lots of little things like that in Civ where you think, oh, that's great, and then you try it and it doesn't work.
Yeah, because of that little thing right there in friendly territory.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool.
Let's see, what other ones are there? Montezuma. I actually like Napoleon, but he got changed with Brave New World.
Okay.
But he used to have this bonus where you just got bonus culture in every city, and that's it. You know, for new players, I mostly would just recommend those sort of passive effects.
Right.
But yeah, he just gave some extra culture, and he, made for a somewhat easier culture victory.
And now it's working a bit differently.
Yeah.
So these theming things, these are... I know a little bit about this, and this has to do with something like the great works that you put into special buildings and stuff. Is that what that's referring to, the theming bonuses?
Yeah, you basically in some buildings you can get a special set, I think, of wonders or whatever they're called, works of art
pieces or whatever. Yeah,
exactly, and they give you a bunch of culture and tourism. So for Napoleon, that bonus is doubled in his capital.
Okay. Cool.
That's how that works. So it's still pretty good for a cultural victory, but it's a little bit harder to get into it,
Yeah, for sure. If I'm looking at one, Montezuma, the one right above.
Yeah.
So this is a pretty simple one to understand. So you gain culture for your empire from each enemy unit that you kill. So this could actually go both ways. Like this kind of lends itself to the culture victory and to domination victory. Am I right?
Yeah.
because it's basically saying the more you kill, the more culture you get, and both of those are different victory types. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty easy one to use as well.
Yeah. And culture opens up what are called social policies.
Yeah.
Which give you kind of civilization-wide bonuses. So if you're going out and you're killing a bunch of things, then you're going to get those upgrades a lot faster, right?
Yeah, you get a lot more bonuses, yeah.
Now, here's another question. Would that count towards something like barbarians?
What do you mean, towards barbarians?
Like, let's say, for example, I kill a barbarian. Do I get culture for that? Or does enemy only count as another civilization?
No, that's barbarians and other civilizations. It's everything.
Cool. Maybe the last one, we could just talk about one more, if you don't mind. Japan. I'm just reading it. That looks like it might be a really good one for a beginner, maybe your first game. What do you think about that?
There's actually a lot of discussion online about Nobunaga being overpowered.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, basically, even if your units are wounded, they fight like they're at full strength.
Okay. And
so obviously, you can fight a lot more units that way.
Yeah, and so for people that don't know what that means, it's let's say that you start with 10 strength on your hero, and you're attacking somebody. You're going to deal full damage because you're at 10 strength. But if you get damaged, let's say you go down to 5 strength, like half your health, you also, in turn, deal less damage, typically, correct?
Yeah.
But with Japan, you would still be dealing damage as if you were full at a 10 health. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So it is OP.
It's pretty OP, yeah.
That's pretty good, though. And that's all your units? Like, that's tanks, that's everything?
Any unit, yep.
That's insane. Okay.
I know.
Cool. I think that's pretty good for an overview of the different civilizations. Do you want to quickly talk about the rest of the way that you'd set up a game, especially maybe for somebody's first game?
Sure, yeah, let's get into that.
Cool.
I'll just go over there's an advanced setup right down there. I don't know if you just clicked it or no.
Yep, I'll follow along with you.
Okay, that's great. So there's basically lots and lots of options, and there's lots of things here you can check, and if you do that, your whole game will get a lot harder to complete.
Okay.
So, if this is one of your first games, maybe just stay away from the advanced options, because you can do a lot of bad stuff down there.
For sure.
Just go into the basic options, and you get to pick your map type.
Okay.
There's 5 basic map types. There's a random, but I tend not to use that personally.
Sure.
We got continents, which is, large land masses and some smaller islands, and you have to cross the sea to get to other civs.
Okay.
There's the Pangea. I'm not sure I'm saying that correctly,
yeah,
but
you are.
Whatever. Okay. It's a giant landmass, or maybe a small island or two, but mostly it's just one giant mass of land.
Okay.
Archipelago? Is that
Archipelago?
Archipelago, okay. Well, I was close.
I'm guessing. I could be wrong too.
Okay.
Archipelago.
I have no idea. Let's just not say it ever again. It's basically a world that's a lot of small islands, and there's no giant land masses.
So in order to win, you're gonna have to build like some navy units.
Well, you have to cross that sea and kill people if you want a domination victory, or you can just start playing really reclusively and then win a science victory or something like that.
Right. Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Then there's Fractal, which I've never played before, I think.
Okay.
It's a highly random map that will often form thin, snaky continents.
Okay.
So I guess that's like sort of smallish land masses.
Sure.
And there's Earth, which is the entire planet. It's giant.
It's huge?
Yeah, especially if you set the map size to giant or huge, then it's a giant map, yeah.
And you would do that in your advanced setup, right?
Well, you can actually do that
size.
down below, down the map type.
Oh, yeah?
If you go back there, you can pick the map size.
Oh, okay.
So you can pick dual, tiny, small, steady. So it's 12 to 2 players and 4 to 24 city-states.
Okay, I don't see that on mine. So if I select... Are you still in the advanced setup, Linus?
No, I'm in the normal setup.
Okay, so if I click on the map type and then select Earth,
Yeah.
It just selects Earth for me. It doesn't give me a size.
No, but actually, if you like, your top option is your leader.
Yep.
One below is Earth.
Yep.
One below is map size.
Oh, map size. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Gotcha. Oh, here we go. Huge. 12 players, 24 city-states. Whoa. Yeah, that's intimidating.
You can actually up that by a whole lot in the advanced options. You can play with 41 city-states.
Jeez.
That's kind of a lot.
Yeah, okay. So for our first playthrough, like for somebody's first kind of game or a beginner, would you go Pangea?
Yeah, that's what I used to play in the beginning. That's the easiest, I think.
Okay.
No C.
Right.
And then basically map size, I would basically recommend tiny or small.
Okay.
You can play dual, which is pretty easy because it's 1v1.
Right.
But if you play in tiny or small, you get some more, diplomacy options.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that everything kind of scales with each option, right?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And the way that they have it from a template standpoint is these map sizes, it's basically twice the amount of city-states as there are civilizations, it looks like.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. You want to talk about difficulty a bit?
Yeah, that's the next one. There's 8 options. It goes from settler to deity.
Okay.
Let's see. Settlers for learning the game, it's incredibly easy. Prince is sort of normal, and then deity is almost impossible.
Okay.
Basically, for your first game, I would recommend going with either chieftain or warlord, because they're both pretty easy.
Instead of settler?
Well, settlers is too easy, you basically can't lose on settler.
Okay, so it's
I guess if you're really scared about the enemy killing you, I guess you can play on settler just to get the hang of it.
Sure.
But otherwise, chieftain or warlord will do.
Okay.
And then what I did is I basically just advanced through the levels as I played in my games.
Okay. So you do a game at kind of like chieftain, maybe work your way up to warlord, prince, whatever.
Well, from Prince onward, it gets pretty tough. Right now, I haven't played Civ in a while. Like, I've just started playing like a month or so ago, or 2.
Yeah. Like you started playing again, you mean?
Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm actually playing on Prince right now, which is pretty easy, and then King is like a little too hard, so I'm kind of working towards that.
Okay, interesting. So that's interesting because somebody with 200 hours of experience is playing on King. And it's difficult. That's kind of it's good to benchmark against that. So that's cool.
Well, I mean, I've played it for about 200 hours, but I mostly played a lot of hours when the game just came out.
Yeah, exactly.
And when Gods and Kings came out, and I stopped playing. So I used to be able to play on Emperor before.
Oh, okay.
But now it's mostly King.
Cool. And what about game pace? How does that work?
Game pace is actually pretty easy. It actually explains it pretty well. The number of turns required to complete your tasks is compressed. So your cities grow quicker, for example, if you play on quick. You produce faster, stuff like that.
Okay. So basically, your production goes faster, your growth goes faster, all that stuff. And if you go marathon, everything just goes slower. That's it.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward like that, yeah.
Cool. Okay. So anything else to talk about in this before we actually get into like what the game looks like?
I think I'm ready to jump into the multiplayer.
Okay, so do you maybe want to explain to people like what's going to be different in the co-op versus what they're going to see if they just play it by themselves?
Basically, what's changing if you play in teams. I mean, if you don't play in teams, it's basically the same. But if you play in teams, all your research goes towards the same goal. If you're researching the same thing.
Okay.
You can see each other's cities on the map. You can see each other's units, stuff like that.
Okay. So the reason that we're doing it co-op is so that Linus can see what I'm building and vice versa. So we can offer some different advice. Some things may progress a little bit faster because we share a lot of the benefits. But the whole purpose is still going to be the same, where he's going to teach me the basics of the game over the next little while.
Yeah.
Okay. That being said, who should we pick for civilizations?
That's a good question. Let's see. We're playing in the Great Plains. I was going to go with Morocco before.
Okay.
But there's not a lot of desert on the Great Plains, so that doesn't really benefit me that much.
So why are you saying that? Because Morocco gets bonuses from desert?
Morocco has a unique improvement, the Casbah.
Okay.
And basically because of that, the game gives them a starting bias to start in a desert
Oh.
to make it more balanced like that.
Gotcha.
So if I pick them, I'll be at a useless spot with maybe like 1 or 2 spots of desert. I don't think that's going to be worth it.
Right, okay.
You just want to, if you pick a map like this, there's not going to be a lot of sea. You have to consider the options.
Okay.
What were you thinking about playing?
Something basic that would give me like nothing with crazy. I don't want any craziness. Like keeping it basic. You have people joining?
Yeah, someone just joined. I don't know what's happening.
That's awesome.
That's not my friend.
That's not my friend. It's not mine either.
It's set to private. This is weird. Okay. Okay. Whatever. What were you saying before? I was distracted by that.
No worries. No worries. So, I'm thinking something basic with a passive bonus.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking as well.
Maybe, I might actually pick Japan. Just because...
yeah, that works.
It's pretty easy to understand. Actually, you know what? I don't want to pick Japan because I want people to see the differences in damage that you deal.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
What's another basic one? I can go with any one you suggest, really.
Let's see, a basic one. You might want to go with Washington, maybe.
Okay, yeah, I could do America,
freedom. Basically, America, I believe, gets extra vision.
Okay.
And they can buy tiles a lot cheaper than other nations can.
Okay.
Then I'm gonna pick Poland.
Sure. And what's Poland's benefit?
I believe they get 1 social policy for free every time they advance an era.
Oh, okay.
So it's pretty nice and balanced,
Yep, for sure. All right. Are you ready to rock?
I'm ready, but who should we play against? Maybe we should set it or just go with random and then...
Yeah, let's go with random. So it'll be, most people are going to play against random leaders, and then once we uncover who they are, we can kind of learn a little bit more about them.
Okay, yeah, that's actually a good idea. Let's do that.
All right, I'm ready to rock.
Let's go. And now we have to wait 10 seconds.
Yeah, no worries. Once we get in, we're going to go through all the interface and stuff anyways. So it will get more exciting very soon. Okay, so this screen actually shows you the Manifest Destiny, it's called. So all land military... Oh, I couldn't even read it in time. Okay. Are you loaded in?
I'm in, yeah.
Okay, so am I. So, before we do anything, what I'd like to do is it possible to just show the interface, or do I have to I guess I have to found a city first.
You have to found your city first, yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about that. Talk about what founding a city means and where you want to found your city and that kind of stuff. So I'm looking at your units right now.
Okay, I'm just gonna start with the most basic of explanations I can give.
For sure.
In every game of Civ you play, you start out with 2 units, a warrior, which is just a combat unit who can't really do anything else. And you can see their strength in the left bottom. And they can all move 2 tiles. I'll actually probably go into movement a little bit later.
Okay.
So all the warrior can really do is walk around and kill stuff, okay? That's all they're good for.
Yep.
Now we got the settler, which is a lot more interesting. They basically have the same options as a warrior, except they can found a city, which you can do by pressing that button on the bottom left of your screen, or by pressing the B button, I guess.
Okay.
Or key. You want to just... let's see, I should probably enable an option here. Yield icons.
Yeah, so I'm showing all of my, all the food and production, that kind of stuff.
Do you have that on your map?
I do, yep.
Okay.
So if you go down to this little screen here, the little honeycomb. Oh no, that's not what we want. You want to go
above, yeah.
Yeah, you want to go to the little script in the bottom right. And I have resource icons on. So that'll show me some of the special resources, like I have silver nearby, spices, deer, and we'll get into all that stuff. The yield icons, so that's where you see the the food. So do you want to talk about what each of those mean?
Sure, except it's probably easier to actually found the city first and then talk about it, I guess.
Oh, okay, sure. Are you going to found your city right now? Because I'm still looking at my units, so...
Yeah, I just want to go ahead and say where you spawn is actually not the best spawn.
Where I spawned?
Yeah, I'm just looking at your American right now.
Okay, so what about you? Are you happy with where your settler is?
I actually have a pretty okay spawn. It's pretty balanced between food and production, which is kind of what you want generally.
Okay, so let's talk about the difference. Let's talk about yours first and tell us why it's a good spot.
Okay, so what you want to look for is always a body of water, whether that's the sea or it's a river.
Why is that?
Well, basically, it gives you unique buildings, like a water mill, for example, which will give you production, it will give you food, and it's just overall pretty good.
Okay. And what you mean by that is, so throughout the course of the game, you're building buildings and improvements to gain more production and more food to further the growth of your city.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you want to look for body water always, and also water makes it that the tiles next to the water are actually a little bit more fertile, so you
Okay.
got more food from them.
Interesting.
That's also quite good.
Okay.
Let's see, is that actually how it works? I know that you get some technology later on, which makes it that, you know, you get extra food from stuff next to water as well.
Okay.
So, you know, you take stuff like that into consideration after you played the game a little bit more.
So water is beneficial. If you can be near water, that's a bonus.
That's a good thing, yes.
Okay. So if I'm looking at you, you have, within kind of your range of sight, you've got some special tiles as well, like wheat, salt, wine,
An oasis.
and which?
An oasis.
Where's that?
It's right above me.
Oh, okay. So that oasis, yeah, I couldn't click on it or anything. You just know what
okay,
that's
yeah.
called. So, that oasis provides you with extra food. That's the bonus of having it there.
Yeah, and also 1 gold.
Right. Okay. And these come into play more when you found your city and you have people actually on those tiles using those benefits, correct?
Exactly, yeah. Right now, they don't matter at all. Unless you don't have a city, you know, if you don't have one of those, it doesn't matter.
All right.
So you got to make your first city.
So do you want to found your city then?
I'm probably going to find my city right here. Oh,
Cool.
yeah, and also, what I also like about it is all the hills around me.
Oh, okay.
Because hills give you a lot of production, as you can see if you have the yield icon enabled.
I do, yeah.
Yeah, you can see a lot of production around me, which is also quite good.
So you're actually going to settle on a hill, correct?
I will settle on a hill, yes.
And then, yeah, you've got the 2 hammers to the left, to the further left of that, and then down. Yeah, you have hammers everywhere. So
This
that's
is just a pretty nice balance start with food and production.
What about this giant mountain? Does that kind of mess up your plan at all, or?
The thing is, a mountain actually doesn't give you any yield, and I used to think that was the worst thing ever. But later on, you actually discover that certain wonders you can only make when you're next to a mountain with your city.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. And then also there's a building called an observatory, which you can only build on a mountain, and it gives you a lot of science, so
Wow,
I like
okay.
it.
And also, I guess, people cannot walk on this mountain. Is that correct?
Most people can't, yes.
So that gives you, like, a bit of a defensive bonus from anybody that's going to attack you from the bottom. They either have to come from the side or the top.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. That's cool. So go ahead and found your city. Show people what that does.
Just click that button, and it will make you a city.
Boom. So he clicked on this little button over here called Found City. And now I kind of need you to talk a little bit more about the borders and stuff. But before we do that, we'll talk about my less fortunate situation.
Okay, sure, yeah.
So maybe I'll try and talk through this and just see if I can figure out why it's not as good.
Yeah.
So based on what you're saying, first of all, I don't have any water nearby. I have a river up here, which is nice, but if I settle here, I don't get the bonus from being near the river, because I have to be right next to it, correct?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Also, I guess if I'm looking at it, I have a lot of, like, just, I don't know, I have a lot of basic tiles, like nothing really special, like I see spices, silver, deer. But I imagine if I were to move up a little bit and settle near that river, I could get deer, stone, wine, cattle, and I could actually even get spices if I settle in the right spot.
Yeah, I think if you move your cellar over like one hex to the left and then above of your warrior,
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
like northwest basically, then that's, you can basically reach the stone, the wine, the deer, and the spices, yeah.
And tell people why I can reach those.
I think the furthest reach that your city can work is 4 hexes away.
Yeah, including the city hex. So
including the city itself, yeah.
Yeah, so it's your city hex and then 1, 2, 3 away. So what he means is, if I were to found my city right where I am, each of these are different hexes. Maybe I can show what this looks like. So I'm kind of in this weird like hex view, but each of these hexes here, you can only go 3 away from your city. So if I found it right here, I could eventually get out to this cattle, because it's 1, 2, 3. I could not get to the wine. Am I correct?
If you make it where you are right now, I think you would not be. Well, maybe you would be able to make it, but it would take a pretty long while.
Yeah.
It's like 1, 2, 3, 4.
So I don't even think this city can get there, because it only maxes out at 3, doesn't it?
Oh, I thought it was 4, but I'm not really sure about that anymore.
I don't know. You know better than I do. But anyways, you want to be in a centralized location where you can get the most of everything. So if I were to move my settler to this unit, then I have 1, 2, 3 to get to spices. I am only 2 away from getting the cattle, 2 away from the wine. Like everything is within my reach. So you figure that's probably the best bet.
Actually, I just realized something. You don't even have to be within 3 tiles of it. Because it's wine, it's a luxury.
Okay.
So what you can do is just you could potentially make your city where you are right now.
Okay.
And then send a worker over to the wine and make a plantation.
Right.
So maybe you would
but
not
that
be able
won't
to,
be within my borders, right?
after a while, it should be within your borders.
Okay.
Maybe it's too far away to really work it,
Mm-hmm.
which means to have one citizen standing on that tile doing work there. So you don't get that 1 food, the 1 production, 2 gold.
Exactly.
But if you improve it, you can still get the wine.
Right, I see. But can you improve outside your borders?
No.
Okay. So
You
I
can't
think
do that.
I'll play it safe. Try to get so that I'm within 3 tiles. I'm pretty sure it's 3 tiles. I could be wrong. Maybe I am. But I still think, based on what you were saying earlier, getting to the river tile is beneficial.
Yeah.
Now you take a little bit of a risk though, because that's 2 turns that I'm not going to have a city, right?
1 turn.
Oh, I can move. Oh, yeah, right. So I can move 2 spaces with the settler.
Well, you can move 2 spaces with pretty much any unit, I believe, but...
Oh, okay.
Do you want me to just go over the movement and explain how that works?
Let's do that after.
Okay, yeah.
I'll get the city going, then we can explain movement with the warriors.
Okay, the thing is, I gotta pick my research and production before I can end my turn.
Yeah, no worries. So, okay, let's focus on yours again.
Okay, thing is, you cannot see my technology right now. That's kind of annoying, but...
That's cool. You go ahead and explain it. So if people are watching on your video, they can understand it, and then we'll go through the same thing for mine.
Okay. So basically, before you can really end your turn in Civilization, you will see these giant buttons in the bottom right corner. I see a little beaker. That's a word, right?
Yeah, it's a beaker. I don't have
Okay.
it, but yeah, you do.
Okay, good. And that will allow you to pick one of your research options, and if you click, you can just click one of them and start working on it. But the best thing to do is just open technology tree and take a look at what you want to work towards. You want me to describe basically my thought process on how I pick my first thing?
I do, but I think it would be better if we could see it at the same time.
Yeah, that's okay.
So I'm not sure the best way to do that, because I have to found a city.
I should probably just pick and then skip to the next turn and then go over it.
Yeah, okay. Let's do that.
Okay, let's see. I think the best option right now would be to go with that.
It's a mystery.
Oh man, what did he pick? And I'm gonna built that, and my warrior can move over there.
Now, what do you're using your warrior to move because you're just exploring, basically. You want to uncover this map.
Yeah, you always start with one warrior, like I said before, so I just use that one as sort of a scout until I really make a scout.
Okay, sure, we'll get there.
Okay, next turn.
And I need to move mine. Now, I do see here, we've discovered ancient ruins, and basically what these are is little bonuses. The whole purpose of, well, not the whole purpose of scouting, but one of the main benefits to scouting aggressively early on is to find these ruins before anyone else does, because they give you bonuses, and they give you little special things that you find in them.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to go towards that.
Thing is, they're not always great bonuses.
Yeah, you never know, right?
Well, there's like a lot of great stuff. Like you can get a free citizen added to your city.
Yeah.
You can get technology, stuff like that.
Yep.
And then they can also say, oh, look, there's a guy we don't know. Here's a map.
Right, yeah. So
that's it.
Varying levels. We'll probably find a bunch, and we'll encounter a bunch of those that we can talk about.
Yeah.
So once you finish your turn, you have to basically go through all of your units, decide what each of your units is going to do, then you hit next turn, right?
Yeah.
And what's different about co-op is that Linus and I actually do our turns simultaneously, and then the AI will go. Whereas in your normal games, every civ takes a separate turn. So here we go. All right, so I'm going to found my city now so we can talk about research and stuff like that.
Okay.
Cool. So boom, found city, Washington. Pretty stoked. So, let's go in here. You want to talk about production first?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. So, are you looking at mine now?
I'm looking at your city now, yeah.
Okay. So, when I bring up production here, basically what this is saying is you can build one of 4 units. I can't even build a settler yet because I have to have at least 2 citizens, so that's why that's grayed out. How do you decide what to prioritize in terms of your production?
Okay, that's actually an interesting question because it differs a lot depending on what stage of the game I am in.
Okay.
When I just start out, I prefer making a scout.
Okay, and why is that?
Well, like you said, to fight those ruins, get extra bonuses, which potentially could be really great.
Okay.
And then also to see, to meet other civilizations and see what they're up to, stuff like that.
Another nice thing about the scout is that they don't get slowed down when you go through rough terrain. So what Linus was saying earlier about how a warrior can move 2 spaces, same as a scout, but if you go into like a forest with a warrior, you can only move 1 space at a time. Whereas a scout can go still the 2 spaces, even if it's in that rough terrain, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Rough terrain is basically a forest, like you just said, or it can be a hill, or it can be crossing a river.
Okay, so anything that's not just flat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much, yeah.
So a good starting tactic would be to go with a scout then, I guess?
Yeah, it's a lot faster way to make sure that you know where everything is, yeah.
All right, and it tells you in here, it's going to take 7 turns. It costs 25 little hammers. And can you maybe talk about where those hammers are coming from?
Yeah, sure. Can you go out of the production menu and click the name of your city?
Sure. I'll select the scout and then I'll go there.
Okay.
So if I click on the city, now I'm in my city view.
Yeah. So let's see. We'll show you the name of your city and whether it's your capital or not.
The capital is the little star.
Yeah, that's the star, exactly. Then there's the city combat strength, which is the little shield with the number.
Oh, okay. Yep.
You can click the arrow if you have more cities and just, go through them quite fast.
Gotcha.
Pretty nice. You can change the name if you would like to. I'm
Okay.
not going to do that, though. And then on the left, it will show you how many citizens you have and how long it will take to grow a new citizen,
Okay.
so to speak. It will show all your gains. So, for example, for my city, I know it's different for yours, but I'm making 3 food,
Okay.
5 production, 4 gold, 4 science, and 1 culture.
Okay. So yeah, interesting, because mine are different. How is that decided on? Like right now I'm making 2 gold, 2 food, 4 production, 3 gold. Where does that come from?
Okay, So the first thing, what we just explained about the tiles that we founded our city on. Yeah, you start with the tile you actually settle your city.
Yep.
So for me, that was 2 hammers and 2 apples.
Okay.
And then you get 1 tile to work because you have 1 citizen in your city. So that's 1 person who's actually going to work 1 tile.
Okay, so in the top right, you probably already did this, but I'm going to open up the citizen management.
Yeah.
And that will probably explain this a little bit. So on my city tile where I founded my city, I have 2 food, 1 production. And I have a citizen here who is, what do you call this, working this tile?
He's working that tile, yeah.
Okay, my citizen's working it on this tile for 2 food. Now, how can you explain how that works? Because I only am generating 2 food in my city.
Wait, so you settled somewhere where it gives you 2 food?
Yep,
And then also your worker is working on somewhere where it gives you...
2 food.
Okay, so how that works actually is if you hover over the food,
Yep,
you will see what you're actually gaining.
right.
And then it says, for me, for example, it says 5 minus 2 eaten by citizens.
Okay, I see what you're saying. So 4 from terrain, 2 is a base, which is probably from my city, and then minus 2, which is eaten by citizens.
Yeah.
Okay, so my city counts as a citizen? I guess.
The 1 person in your city is a citizen. And they
Oh.
all need 2 food to eat, or they will starve if you don't have that.
Oh, each citizen eats 2 food.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I never knew that. So
Okay.
in total, if I look at this, I am getting 4 food, but I'm only gaining 2 per turn because this citizen right here, this pig, is eating 2 food every time.
Yeah.
Okay. And what about production? It says I'm getting 1 from terrain and 3 from buildings.
Yeah, if you go to your right hand,
Yep.
below the citizen management, it will say wonders.
Yep.
There's a building there called the Palace.
Yes, I see that.
Yeah, you only get that one in your capital, nowhere else.
Okay.
And it gives you a whole lot of stats towards basically everything.
Everybody has this?
Every city starts out with this. Every first city.
Okay. Cool.
Only the capital.
Okay. So that's where all these numbers are coming from then, a combination of all this stuff.
Exactly. That's where you get the science and a bunch of gold, probably some production.
I gotta say, like, this is probably one of the more confusing things to understand from a for a new person, is how you're generating your food, how you're generating your production, and all that stuff. For me, anyways, it's very tough to understand.
Yeah, it takes a little while to get used to it, but if you take a close look at the numbers, they will actually make sense after a while.
Yeah, okay. So, I don't mean to go into, like, I know we're going super detailed here, and that's the whole point, but if I go back now to my production and I look at the scout, it takes 7 turns. Can you explain how that 7 turns is arrived at?
Yeah, sure. If you hover over the scout, it will say his cost in hammers.
25 hammers.
25 hammers. And then if you click your city, or actually right above that, it will tell you how many hammers you're making every turn.
Yep, so up here I'm making 4 hammers per turn.
So you're gonna need like, what is it, like 7 turns to make a scout?
Yep, because 7 times 4 would be 28.
Yeah,
7 times 6 is 24, so you have to go the full 7 turns.
Exactly. I gotta make that 25 hammers.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. So I have a scout going.
Yeah, I'm making a scout as well.
Okay.
Then we actually forgot about science.
Yeah, so you want to go through all of these? We can totally do that. That's a good time to do it.
Well, what actually I wanted to say first is how it's made in your city.
Sure.
So if you hover over it as well in the city view.
Are we talking
you
about
get
science right now?
Science, yeah.
Okay.
Wait, what did I say before?
Yeah, no, that's good.
Oh, okay. Your palace basically gives you +3 science per turn.
Okay.
And then every citizen you have in your capital will also give you 1 science per turn.
And how do you use science in the game?
Yeah, if you, did you already pick your science or not yet?
I did not.
Okay, well, I already did it. But basically, if you go to your science, you probably have that beaker down right below, right?
I do. So this beaker here is a research project.
Yeah.
So choose research. Okay. Now I have this technology tree open.
Okay, you have the giant technology tree open?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want me to close that?
No, that's fine. I was actually going to talk about that anyway.
Okay.
I'm aware of the fact that it looks really
Intimidating.
scary, intimidating. And also, you know, the game actually lies to you, because if you scroll all the way to right, it will tell you that it's going to take you 3,700 turns to get to future tech. That's not actually true.
Now,
well, at this point it is, but...
Okay, and the reason that's 3,741 turns is because I'm only generating... where is it here? I'm only generating 4 science right now.
Yeah.
So 4 science per turn to get there would take 3,700 turns. But as your science goes up, the amount of turns goes down. Correct?
Yeah, that's how it works, yeah.
Okay, cool.
So anyway, all you really need to focus on is the left hand of the tray where you start out. Everybody starts with agriculture. You don't even need to research it. You just already have it.
Okay.
And what it does is it allows workers that you make to construct farms.
Sure.
Which will increase the food output of the certain tiles, or well, pretty much all tiles, really.
Okay.
And it opens up 4 different trees. There's pottery, animal husbandry, archery, and mining.
Okay.
And basically what those do is they all give you a very different approach to the beginning of the game. Pottery is actually great if you are sort of at a loss for food. Because it will give you 2 food per turn, so even if you're, you know, don't have a lot of food, it will give you enough to grow.
So, are you talking about the granary within pottery?
The granary, yeah.
Okay, so what would happen is I would research pottery. Once pottery is unlocked, then I can build a granary within my city.
Yeah.
And that granary gives that +2 food.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Then it also improves certain tiles. If you built that granary, it will improve certain tiles around your city.
Okay.
Like, if you're lucky enough to have wheat, which I actually have 2 tiles of right next to my city.
Yeah, right.
I will get another +1 food per thing, so they will both give me 3 apples.
Wow, okay. So so because of the bonuses around you, or because of the resources around you, that's going to actually do a lot better job for you than it would for me, necessarily.
I don't know, let's check your surroundings. Yeah, I guess so, because I don't really... All I really see is deer, and that also gets a bonus from a granary, so...
Right, but I don't even have the deer within my borders yet, so does that do anything for me?
Well, the thing is, researching pottery will take you 14 turns, right?
Yeah.
And then you still have to build it, so within that time, if you actually go back to your city view... Oh,
yeah.
Oops, that's the tech tree. Oh, I can't do that with your city, of course. You'll see in the little little row with statistics. You will see culture +1.
Yep.
Right under it says probably 14 turns until border growth.
Yeah, mine says 15.
Oh yeah, because you just made your city. Of course, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Can you tell me which of your tiles is now has a like little pink lining around it?
Yeah, sure. So I have the wine tile and the stone tile. They have this pink border.
Ah, that's what I was afraid of. Okay.
So what does that mean?
It means that in 14 more turns, your city will basically swallow another tile. Your border will grow
so that will
one
become
tile.
part of my city borders.
Yes, exactly. So then you can actually work that tile. You can do anything with it that you want.
And I can't pick which tile that's going to be?
You can buy a tile if you click the buy a tile option, which is can be really expensive, but you're America, so it could be cheaper for you.
Yeah, my tiles are, I mean, fairly cheap.
For example, how much would you have to pay to get the deer?
The deer is 25 gold.
I mean, that's pretty much nothing.
Right.
If I want to buy a simple, just plain tile, it's 80 gold.
Oh, wow, okay. So because I'm America, that's my bonus, is buying tiles for cheap.
Yeah, that's one of your bonuses. The other one is improved vision for units, I believe.
Okay, so when your border is expanding, the game is automatically picking... Does it always have 2 potential that it's going to go to?
No, sometimes it has 1, sometimes it's got 0.
Okay.
If your border's already grown super huge, then it will no longer absorb other tiles.
Okay, fair enough. So, I don't know which one it's going to pick, but when it does grow in 15 turns, I'll either get wine or stone. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's pretty random, I think, but it does prioritize, I think mostly luxury resources, but I'm not sure about that.
Okay. And we can get into what luxury resources are down the road.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Okay, so what do you recommend going with in terms of our research?
Okay, so I picked animal husbandry myself.
Okay.
Seeing as I'm doing pretty good in the food, you know,
Yep.
I've got nice food income production stuff in my city. So I didn't really need pottery right now.
Okay.
I'm not a super big fan of faith, which is a religion.
And where is... Oh, the shrine within pottery you're talking
pottery
about.
allows you to make a shrine, which is... You actually need that if you want to get a religion going, but I don't really care for that too much.
Okay.
Then there's animal husbandry, which will reveal horses on the map.
Okay.
I've got a feeling there might be horses around my city, but I can't really be too sure, but I will, take that guess or
What's
gamble.
giving you that feeling?
My gut. It's just a gut feeling.
Okay.
Then there's archery, which is okay. It gives you gives you access to a nice wonder,
Okay.
Temple of Artemis. It'll give you some extra food growth, so that's actually quite nice, and it'll give you archers, which are just, better military units than the warrior.
Okay.
But right now I don't feel threatened, because the game only just started, so I don't really feel a reason to make an archer yet.
Okay.
Then there's mining, which allows you to construct mines and also chop down forests.
Okay.
It doesn't give you any buildings to make. But really, I don't have any... let's say I don't have any stuff besides the salt that I really need to make a mine on. Maybe if you had silver or gold or rock, stuff like that, stone, what you have.
Right, yeah. And it requires mining. My stone, it says, requires masonry, so that's even further down the tree.
Yeah, at first you get mining, and then will say that it leads to masonry, and then you
Right.
can get the stone.
Okay, interesting. So, when you're choosing what to research, are you going based on what's around you?
I basically take a look at what's around me. I want to see if my happiness is really high. Because if it's not high, I want to try and get a luxury resource as early as possible.
Okay.
So then I will pick a technology that will allow me to get that. But now, we started playing on a somewhat lower difficulty level to get into it,
Yep.
which gives you more happiness, so I didn't really need it.
Oh, okay. So for you, would it be safe to say that would you probably go with the granary because you have 2 wheat within your borders already?
Yeah, but right now I'm doing pretty good on the food.
Oh, okay.
And as soon as I get another citizen, he'll just start working on one of those tiles that gives me 2 food anyway.
Because, okay, yeah, fair
Because
enough.
that's the highest yield for food.
Or would he go to your little, your oasis there?
That's where my first guy's already working.
Oh, he is, okay, cool. All right, so you're gonna go with which?
I went with animal husbandry.
You're gonna go with animal husbandry, okay. Now, is that why my animal husbandry is only showing us 7 turns instead of 14 for all the others?
Yeah, we're playing co-op, so basically, just, folk doesn't... I'm not really sure what word I'm looking for here, but...
Things are gonna move a little bit faster, but,
you combine your science into
Yeah.
one, project, yeah.
the theory is still the same. Okay, so for me then, what would you be recommending?
Let's see. Working on a scout. Oh man, there's all these different things. So you got, for example, you could go with mining to get to masonry because you got stone.
Right.
You could go with pottery to get to the calendar to get that wine.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, you could go with animal husbandry to get the deer and the cattle down there.
Okay.
So, for
Lots
you,
of
it's-
options.
Yeah, there's lots and lots of options there.
Now, the thing is if you do that, let's say that I'm going for masonry or I'm going for the calendar so that I can get the wine, then I would be skipping out on something like archery, so I wouldn't get archers for a while. Right? So when you pick something, you kind of lose out on other things, but then you can come back and get them down the road.
Well, what you can actually do is start focusing on one thing.
Yeah.
For example, you start working on animal husbandry,
Okay.
and then you think, oh man, there's barbarians there. I should have picked, for example, archery.
Right.
You can just go back to your research and then click archery and start researching that instead.
And then do you lose all the time that you put into the other one?
I'm pretty sure you just keep the research points that you put into that project. They just stay into the.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so based on this, it probably makes sense then to go animal husbandry into trapping so that I can... If you hover over the cow, it says requires animal husbandry on the right. And if you hover over the deer, it says requires trapping. So it probably makes sense to go into those, being that I can get more of an immediate benefit from the cows. Even though it's not in my border right now, being that I'm America, I can buy that tile for very cheap. So by the time I get access to those, or by the time I research animal husbandry, I may be actually able to buy that tile. Maybe.
Yeah, no, I mean, if I was in your position right now, I would probably pick animal husbandry, because there's 2 tiles that could benefit from that research.
Okay, so I'm going to do that. It's done. Committed.
Good.
Now, I also have this warrior, and he's right next to these runes, so I'm going to run over here. I've discovered...
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's better.
Okay, so do you want to tell him what just happened?
I just found 4 horses, so my feeling was correct.
Oh, okay. Okay,
no,
so...
I get what you mean, though. Yeah, you just ran into a ruin, which gives you a bonus. And you were lucky enough to find some people in that ruin, or just some remains of people or something like that.
Okay.
Which basically gives you a free technology, which purely coincidentally turned out to be animal husbandry.
Okay, so is it random, usually?
It's random, yeah.
Okay, so that's funny because now we have to choose another research. But this is actually really great because probably the best thing you can find in a rune is a free technology. Would that be fair to say?
Some of my favorite things are, yeah, free technology, and I also kind of like having a citizen added to your city.
Okay, instant
It's also
growth.
an option. Yeah, it grows your city one size. And there's also an option that they will actually join you as settlers.
Oh, that's cool.
But I think that may only be accessible on the lower difficulties, so I'm not really sure.
Okay, fair enough. So regardless, because we're co-op, we're both going to get that technology, so we both have animal husbandry finished now, which means we're both going to choose another research. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. So I said I was going to go into trapping. Now, is that still a good thing to do?
Personally, I would not be a big fan of that.
Okay.
Because it will take a lot longer to really get to it.
Yeah, because it says 22 turns.
Yeah, I tend to choose exactly, especially in the beginning, I tend to choose the choices that don't last as long to make.
Fair enough.
Or take as long.
Yeah. So maybe now would be a good time to switch to something like archery or mining? Like, what do you suggest?
Right now, personally, if I was playing by myself, I would probably go for mining.
Okay. Because that's going to help me get towards the masonry.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
the stone.
And it will allow me to get that salt, so it, benefits to both of us, so...
Okay. And all of this stuff, like, you're probably thinking, like, what the hell are the point of deer and stone and all this? Like, all of these things, like stone, it goes towards building better units. Wine is a luxury resource which makes your people happy, as you can see here, +4 happiness. So they all have different benefits, right?
Yeah.
Or stone, I might be wrong, is stone just a +1 in production, or can you actually use stone for stuff?
There's some unique buildings, or actually one that I'm sure of. You can get if you have stone, which is a stoneworks.
Okay.
That's an extra production to your city and like 1 happiness, and it's just a nice building if you have stone next to you.
Okay. So I'm going to go with mining then, as you suggested. I also have another rune up here that we found that we'll have to take our warrior to. So let's start moving our way up there, I guess.
Oh man, that's Sweden. Yep.
Uh-oh. So we found people.
Yeah, we did.
Interesting.
Oh, and actually, look at that. So, do you have the score?
I do,
window?
yeah, because I just noticed that they're both showing.
Yeah, that's weird.
Is that because of our difficulty?
I think it's because they're in a team.
Ah, okay. Fair enough. So normally you don't see the civilizations that are on the map until you run into them. So at this point, he's within my field of view. So it would say, "Oh, you found Sweden," right?
Yeah. Then you basically get approached by Sweden. And he's like, "Oh, hey, what's up?"
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, I finished my turn.
Can I just say something right now?
Of course.
This looks like a perfect opportunity to go over the way. Oh, actually, we already talked about movement. Never mind. But what I just wanted to point out is that you should be able to reach that ruin before the Swedes.
Okay. Do you want to talk about why?
See, when I look at the Swedes, they are going to have to cross that river if
Okay.
they want to get to the ruins.
That's going to use their whole turn, right? Because it's
That uses
considered
their whole
rough
turn.
terrain.
Yeah, so they're still one tile away from the ruins. But if you play your cards right, you can actually go left to the cattle,
Okay.
and you will have one movement point remaining, and then cross over into the ruins.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so if you sort of get used to the game, you start seeing stuff like that, which is actually pretty cool.
Okay, so I'll do that on the next turn and explain it again because it's a little hard to understand it right
Yeah,
now.
sure.
But I know what you mean, so we'll do that on the next turn.
I click next turn.
Cool. Okay, so you can see that Sweden is now left. I don't know what they're doing, but whatever. So what Linus means is if I were to move here, you're going to see, if you just hold down your right mouse button, it'll tell you where you can move your guys. And you're probably looking at the ruin thinking, well, it's 2 squares away, but you're crossing a river. How can you do that? The way that it works is if I were to cross to this square right here, that counts as rough terrain, which is going to use my whole movement points. Both of my movement points would be gone. What Linus was suggesting is go here first, so use 1 movement point, which I'm going to do. And then it's just going to consume the rest of your movement points to go over rough terrain like that river. So that still lets me go into the ruins. Did I explain that easy enough, do you think?
Yeah, that's, yep, I think that should be okay.
Okay. So now, I got the ruins, but nothing happened. So what
Are
does
you
that
sure
mean?
about that?
Well, I don't know.
Didn't say. Normally it says like it has like a little line in the screen that says something, but
Yeah, I know nothing came up.
that's weird.
I think it's like there's some weird glitches in co-op. But what do you think that could be?
Can you tell me how much culture you have right now?
I have 21 out of 20.
Yeah, there you go. You got 20 culture for free.
Oh, okay. So I didn't get the thing that came up, but that's another thing you can find in the ruins.
They give you 20 culture, yeah.
Okay.
That's actually not perfect because now you you have to explain about social policies next turn, and I have to wait like 19 more turns.
Oh, I see. Well,
That's fine though. I can just open it.
Oh yeah, you can still open it, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, that'll work. So, are you ready for next turn?
Yeah, I already clicked it. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna skip. It said something about barbarians, but we'll get to them in a bit.
Oh, actually, I just found them. That was
Yeah, I
probably
know.
my fault. Yeah.
That's okay. No worries. We'll talk about it as it comes. So next turn. All right. You want to talk about barbarians first?
Sure. That seems
'Cause-
like a pretty basic thing. Yeah.
I think most people will find barbarians before they adopt a policy in most
Yeah,
situations.
I would assume that. Yeah. Okay, so barbarians actually look like this. They have a nice little blue icon with a red border. I mean black.
Okay, I was like,
yeah, obviously.
maybe we lost something in translation there.
I've been recording too long. So basically, you know, when they look like that, you know that they're enemies. They're not nice. They will attack you on sight. You don't have to go to war with them. You are always at war with them.
They're not a civilization.
Yes, they're not a civilization, but they will try and attack you and sometimes even try to attack your city.
Okay.
So you want to take care of them whenever possible. So let's see. Actually, this one's in an encampment, which is a good start. These actually spawn randomly across the world. Oh, well, it's actually pretty amazing that there's no one next to you because you discovered all that area.
I know, right?
Yeah. So basically, they spawn in those camps, which gives them extra protection, stuff like that. And you're going to have to destroy them to get to their camp. And
So-
if you take... Oh, yeah,
Can I
go
just
ahead.
ask a question about that?
Yeah?
When you're saying that they're spawning in these camps, so if you were to leave this camp here, which is indicated by this little fence, if you were to leave that there, they would keep spawning barbarians like every few turns or whatever?
Yeah, it starts with one barbarian and you think, oh, it's not that bad. And then a couple of turns later, there could be like 3 archers over there. You don't really know.
I gotcha. So it's within your best interest to clear out these camps like ASAP.
Yeah, just clear out the camps, you get experience, you get a nice reward for it, and you will no longer be plagued by bandits.
And what does experience do for you?
Experience is actually, I can't really show it right now because my unit has none, but
Okay.
if you click your warrior,
Okay, let me click on mine.
okay,
Yep, go ahead. Oh, I'm already
right
on.
above, okay, right above his movement bar, you will see a little bar that looks like it's just decoration for
Yeah.
the thing, but it's basically an experience bar.
Okay.
And it's gonna fill up with blue stuff, and then when it reaches the end, when you get 10 experience, you will level up, and you can pick an upgrade for your unit.
And each unit has individual experience.
Yes, yeah.
You only get experience from killing other units, or
Yeah, if you fight other units, you get experience, and also if they're attacked, I think, but I'm not
Okay.
really sure about that.
so when they engage in battle, basically.
Basically, yes.
Cool. Okay. So are you going to do anything about these barbarians? Do you want to talk about that? Talk about how the attacking works and that little overlay that comes up?
Thing is, yeah, I can actually drag my thing over there. I can't attack him this turn, but I can drag it over there and show that little window.
Yeah. Or do you want to wait until you're actually attacking?
No, this is fine. You can right-click your own unit, and then drag it to an enemy, and it will bring up this sort of combat window.
Yep.
And it will tell you at the very top how the battle will probably end for you. So it could be a minor defeat, major defeat. It could be a stalemate, minor victory, or decisive victory.
Okay.
I think that's pretty much all the options. So basically, you know, if it tells you don't do this, it could end really badly in a major defeat. You do not want to attack. You know, and likewise, if it tells you that's a decisive victory, you should pretty much just go for it.
Okay. So right now, like, I'm hovering over it with my guy. Even though I can't attack it, it's still going to show it to me.
Yeah.
And ours are probably showing the same, right?
They should, yeah.
Do you want to talk about what each of those things are, or do you want to hold off on that?
No, that's fine. So on my side, which is the left side, it will tell you from my point of view. Holy
Yeah.
crap! It's saying that I will inflict 26 damage. I don't know what it says for you.
Yeah, it's the same for me.
Okay, it says my strength is 10.4, which is basically that 8 strength you will see in the bottom window.
Yep.
Except it's modified by minus 20% because I'm attacking over a river.
Okay.
And then it's also plus 50% because I'm fighting barbarians. That's
So
the difficulty level.
Okay, so because of the difficulty we're on, we're getting bonuses against barbarians, which is increasing your overall strength.
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
just to make it easier for new players. So right
Yeah,
now
cool.
I don't really want to attack him. I just want to go into that ruin and take it.
Okay, so there was a ruin there. What happened for you?
It showed me a little message that I've received 65 gold.
Awesome. That's another bonus. That's huge, actually. 65 gold is nice.
Yeah, that's pretty nice for the beginning.
Okay, cool. So, anything else for your turn?
I think I'm just gonna end it.
Sounds good. I have to adopt a policy now.
Okay.
This is going to be... I'm going to leave this one all to you, so... I've got my screen up if you want to go ahead.
Sure. Okay, so personally, I can't really pick a social policy right now. Basically, what happens is your culture that you will see at the top of your screen right here is going to fill up, and when it reaches that border, which says 20 for me,
Yep.
probably was 20 for you as well, you get to pick one social policy. You get to adopt one from one of these trees you see here. And it may look pretty intimidating because there's a lot of choices, but really it's not that big of a deal.
And they narrow you down. Like right now, I can only pick 4 because you unlock the later ones due to like getting further in the game.
Yeah, later eras and technology, stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah. Like Patronus says classical era, rationalism is Renaissance, medieval, classical. Okay. Cool.
Okay, so your choices right now are tradition, liberty, honor, and piety.
Okay.
It's actually going to tell you if you hover over it. Like, for example, tradition increases the rate of border expansion and grants you plus 3 culture. That's pretty good.
Okay.
They all, let's see, it's best for small empires. Liberty is best for civilizations that want rapid expansion.
Oh, so they actually give you some advice in a sense of what type of empire you're going for, what you should go with.
Exactly, yeah. And honor, for example, improves your army. So if you're planning on going for a domination victory, you might want to go with honor.
Right.
And piety increases to faith.
Okay. And faith is a whole separate thing that we'll just touch base on probably, but we're not going to go in super detail right now.
I don't think I've really have a lot of time left today, so we should probably just make another video about that later.
Yeah, we can do that for sure. So do you want me to pick one of these policies?
Yeah. What would be your first choice if you had to say right now?
Is this a quiz?
No, just asking. Like, since you haven't played that much, you haven't played hundreds of hours. What would be your first choice?
Well, probably the best immediate bonus would probably be honor, because it gives you a 33% combat bonus against barbarians, which you run into a lot of at the beginning of the game. You gain culture for the Empire for each barbarian killed, so that's also nice. And eventually, if you get the whole honor thing, then you just get gold for every enemy unit that you kill. So yeah, I would say probably honor as a beginner is a good one to go with.
Yeah, honor's actually pretty great, especially if you're going for a domination victory.
Okay.
I mean, you get extra culture and, well, you don't get culture for killing normal units, but you get gold for killing them, which can be a huge help.
Yeah. After you get everything within this tree, right?
Yeah, exactly. You have to pick the entire tree, but then you get gold for killing enemy units.
Okay.
Which will happen a lot if you go to war later on.
Exactly. Okay, well, I'm gonna keep it simple and adopt honor then. Okay,
yeah.
So I've adopted that, and then on my next one, I get to kind of go down this almost like a skill tree. Would you go into multiple social policies or just typically stick to one?
At the beginning, I try to stick to one mostly. I'm gonna be honest. The first time I started, I just read pretty much all of these little choices you can pick.
Yep.
And tried to decide which one was best for me. And in most situations, that was either tradition or liberty.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I was never a really big fan of the domination victory. I liked playing it, for science or diplomacy or something like that.
Right, okay.
So I like the bonuses. For example, liberty can give you a free worker and a free settler.
Right away? Like as soon as you pick it?
As soon as you pick it, you get a free worker, and also your tile improvement construction rate is increased by 25%.
Oh, where do you... This is in which, sorry?
This is in Liberty. It's the little hammer with the triangle pointing down. It's called citizenship.
Oh, once you... Okay, yeah, once you get citizenship, I see. That's pretty nice.
And then there's, one where you get extra production when you're building in every city, and then there's extra production when constructing buildings. And that's the same thing, so that's a whole lot of production right there.
Yeah, yeah.
And you can get a free settler. I mean, it's just a lot of nice stuff. So mostly, personally, I go with Liberty.
Okay, and because you typically like to expand a lot. This is suiting for multiple cities, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Very cool. So I've adopted a policy now. I think we've covered off like the very, very basics in probably a little bit too much detail, but hopefully it answers a lot of questions that people might have. Before we wrap it up, Linus, do you want to just walk through the things that are happening on the top left of the screen? Like all these little icons?
I was just looking at that. We already went over science and gold.
Yeah.
We had culture and tourism and faith is not something we can really talk about right now.
Right.
We'll also show you an icon from each show's horses.
Yep, mine too.
Okay, so that's 0 right now. You actually need to get a worker and actually make a pasture for those horses, and then you will own them, and it will say 4.
Okay.
But we'll get into that.
4 per tile type of thing?
Well, I got 4 horses right here. For you, it's probably going to say 2, right?
Yeah, I see 2, yeah.
Okay. So once we missed is the trait routes. The one with the little circle of arrows.
Oh, yeah, okay. So that's something new, right?
That's actually a new thing, and I can't really show it right now because neither of us have an option to really do that.
Sure.
So maybe we should get into that next part as well.
Yep.
There's happiness, which is actually a pretty big thing. And also a pretty small thing, actually. What does it say for you? Does it say 9 as well?
Yes.
Okay. So it will tell you exactly if you hover over it what you get happiness from.
Okay.
For me, it's pretty much just the difficulty level gives me 12 happiness. And then I get minus 0.75 for every population person.
Yep, mine too. And 2.25 for a city.
Yeah, so really all that you need to know about happiness is that you just need to keep it above 0.
Okay.
If it drops to 0, your people get unhappy, which is just a terrible thing that you do not want to happen.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, no matter what playing style you've got, it will basically drop your food a whole lot. People will stop eating.
Okay.
Your production will go down, and you're gonna get actually penalties in combat.
Now, are there any benefits to having, say, 50 happiness compared to having 9 or 1?
Yeah, that's actually a great question. That was exactly what I was going to address next.
Okay.
Next to the happiness, you will see a little, I guess it's a gem? A golden gem?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay, I don't really see anything else in it, but,
Oh. Okay, go ahead.
oh, you didn't know that yet?
No, I didn't know how that worked.
Ah, okay. So any excess happiness, which is above 0, you get, is added to that little counter. It says 27 out of 500 for me.
Okay, mine says 30 out of 500.
Well, it's not a competition, so.
It's civilization, it is, just saying.
Yeah, so basically, if you reach that limit, which is 500 for me, you go into a golden age.
Okay.
Golden ages will give you a lot of money and also extra production. Actually, it says right down below. Every tile in your empire that produces at least 1 gold produces 1 extra.
Okay.
I mean, that can be huge.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I
And then
actually,
also-
like right now, I don't have any gold going, but down the road, once you're producing gold, everything you get extra. That's for 10 turns, you said?
For
Golden Age lasts 10 turns?
While in a golden age, I mean, they can be longer, they can be shorter.
Oh, really?
They all-
Okay.
Yeah, with certain wonders and buildings and stuff like that.
Okay.
And you also get plus 20% production and also plus 20% culture in your entire empire.
The production's probably the strongest one. Like,
Yeah.
that's huge.
That is huge, yeah.
Okay. So, the benefit to having higher happiness is you get to golden ages faster.
Yes.
And there's no downside to being in a golden age.
No, that's great.
Okay.
Yeah.
And each time you hit a golden age, does it require more excess happiness to get one?
I think the limit goes up, or the golden ages are actually shorter.
Okay.
But you can basically add to that with wonders, and there's some other ways to get to it, but we should probably talk about that later.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's pretty much it. That's the entire user interface.
Sounds good, man. I really appreciate you showing me this, because, like, even just, I know this has been really long, and, like, I've asked you a ton of questions, but this actually does help me personally, which was my goal, so I appreciate
Oh, that's great.
that.
Okay, can I just add one last thing?
Of course, yeah.
Okay, so you just spent like an hour and 25 minutes watching this video. What you could have done is just hit help in the top right corner of the screen. You see that?
Yeah, I'm there.
And that's the Civilopedia.
Okay.
It has information on everything in the game, literally everything.
Okay.
So if you're ever, you're not really sure what's happening, you can just click that and just look it up.
So, like, you can use the little search thing and be like, production.
I don't really know that's the thing, but if you want to know what specific things do, production, no.
Yeah, like
Production.
it says, it gave me 2 options. It says settlers and food production.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I'll give you another example. Let's say, like, you're playing a game like ours right now, and you're playing against Sweden.
Yep.
You're like, oh shit, that's Sweden. What do they do again? So you can just type Sweden.
Oh.
And it shows up. You see their leader,
Yeah.
unique units, and a little giant history.
Yeah,
if you wanna,
seriously.
If you want to read up on that.
Okay.
And you can just click their leader, and it will take you through their unique ability.
Oh, so they have Nobel Prize, so you gain 90 influence with a great person gift to a city-state.
Yeah.
I don't really understand how influence works, but we'll get there eventually. When declaring friendship, Sweden and their friend gain a 10% boost to great person generation. All right, cool.
What I also want to point out is that this is not just great if you want to learn about the game, but let's say you're actually interested a lot in history and civilizations. Obviously, there's a lot of history on certain leaders, but let's say you're in a game with a certain city-state. Let's actually, there should be a button here. Yeah, there's a city-state tab right there. It's the one with the dome.
Buildings. Oh,
It's,
yeah, okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
here.
You could actually, let's say you've never heard of a city-state. You heard of you're playing a game with Ur. Is that how you pronounce that?
How do you spell it?
U-R.
Oh yeah, down here. Sure.
Okay. So that's what I actually had in my own Let's Play. I was playing against and I was like, what is that? Is that even a thing? And then
Yeah.
I actually looked it up, and it turned out to be a real thing.
So these are all like historical based entries.
Yeah, this is all actual stuff that happened or existed.
That's really cool, actually.
Yeah, I love that.
It's funny right now because I'm zoomed in on my cows, and so all I hear is mooing over you talking. It's great. But this is really cool. So for me, like, you know, I'll be honest, going in here is super intimidating because there's like you could spend days just reading in here.
Oh yeah.
I think the best thing to do is if you have a buddy that knows how to play. This co-op actually is really helpful. The other thing is just play it, experiment with it. You have a lot of different series that you've done on this game, have you not?
Yeah.
So if you guys want, if you're watching on my channel, definitely go and check out Linus because he's got multiple playthroughs of this, and that was actually the reason I found you in the first place, like over a year ago, was because I was interested in this game, and I started watching people play it. And it helps a bit to watch Let's Plays, but usually people are so knowledgeable that it's hard to learn necessarily.
Yeah.
But it's still super interesting to watch somebody play it. But yeah, thanks for taking the time to do this. I appreciate it, and hopefully other people get something out of it as well.
Yeah, I hope so.
All right, man. Well, thanks so much. And if people are interested, we can maybe twist Linus's arm into going into more of the detailed stuff down the road. But hopefully this gives you the basics. That was the original intention. So anything else from you, Linus?
I just want to say thanks for letting me talk about Civilization for an hour and a half.
Awesome. All right, man. Take it easy.
Okay, see ya.